the angel that made heaven tremble. Among all the celestial beings in existence, there was one angel that stood apart from the rest. He didn't wage wars like the warriors. He didn't deliver prophecies like the messengers. His task was simpler and far more terrifying. He finished what others had begun, without hesitation, without mercy. His arrival carried only one meaning: everything ends now. His name was Azrael, the angel of death. Legend says he could extract a soul with nothing more than a touch. Some believe that when he manifested, the soul immediately understood its journey was complete. And whenever he drew near, even the mightiest of angels fell silent and stepped back. Today, we're unveiling the story of the most feared angel in all of creation. The birth of mortality. In the time before time had meaning, before humanity took its first breath on earth, death did not exist. The universe was incomplete. Life had not yet emerged, and therefore the cessation of life had no place in creation's grand design. But everything changed because of a single decision. In the very beginning, the first human being, Adam, was fashioned and placed within a flawless garden. This sanctuary, called Eden, existed without suffering or sorrow. It was a divine gift, perfect in every way. But when Adam and his companion Eve chose to disobey the Creator and consume fruit from the forbidden tree, they unleashed something entirely new into existence: sin. And sin brought with it a consequence that had never before touched creation: mortality. From that pivotal moment forward, death became woven into the fabric of human existence. Humanity would no longer possess eternal life. Instead, people would be born, experience the passage of years, and inevitably reach their final moment. And because death had now become part of the natural order, someone needed to take responsibility for shepherding this new phase of the human experience. But this wasn't a task that could be assigned to just anyone. Among the countless angels dwelling in the heavenly realms, there were mighty warriors like Michael, divine messengers like Gabriel, and numerous other angels fulfilling specialized roles. Each had their purpose, but the duty of delivering death, of severing the thread of life and shepherding souls into the afterlife, was something altogether different. It demanded courage, unwavering obedience, and a unique form of strength: the strength to carry out what no other being would willingly choose to do. So the Creator issued a command. He instructed his angels to descend to earth and gather the dust from which Adam's physical form would be crafted. This dust would construct the first human body, the vessel destined to house a living soul. One after another, the archangels were dispatched to complete this mission. According to various sources, Michael made the attempt, but the earth itself cried out in protest, pleading with him to leave its soil undisturbed. Other accounts suggest Gabriel approached the earth and felt such deep compassion for it that he departed without taking anything. Time and again, each angel returned to the Creator empty-handed, unable or unwilling to collect what had been requested. Then the Creator sent Azrael. At that time, Azrael had not yet become the angel of death. He was simply another angel among many, devoted, obedient, and quiet. But when his turn came, Azrael descended to earth and accomplished what all the others had refused to do. He collected the dust, even as the earth wept and begged to remain whole. Some traditions say that Azrael addressed the earth directly, making a solemn promise to return the dust when the time was right. Other versions claim he spoke not a single word. What truly mattered was this: he fulfilled the mission and delivered the dust back to the Creator. And with that singular action, everything shifted. Azrael had demonstrated something none of the other angels had. He proved he could execute the most difficult assignment without hesitation, without protest, and without allowing sentiment to interfere. Because of this demonstration of resolve, the Creator bestowed upon him a role unlike any other in existence. Azrael would become the one accountable for both the beginning and the conclusion. He would guide each soul from its creation to its final instant within the body, and then escort it beyond into the unknown. From that moment onward, Azrael ceased to be merely an angel. He became Malak al-Maut, the angel of death. Azrael's success in retrieving the dust from earth served as proof that he alone possessed the fortitude to bear the burden of death. No other angel had the constitution for it. This wasn't because they lacked power, but because the responsibility was simply too immense. And the name Azrael, which translates to help of God in Hebrew, became forever connected to this divine function, to assist each soul in crossing from this existence to whatever awaits beyond. So yes, Azrael is recognized throughout Islamic and Jewish traditions as the angel of death, but his work extends far beyond simply ending lives. His primary responsibility is to separate the soul from its physical vessel at the divinely appointed moment of death. But extracting a soul is only one aspect of what he accomplishes. In both sacred texts and oral traditions handed down through generations, Azrael is characterized as a psychopomp, a being whose purpose is to escort souls from the material world into the realm beyond. He doesn't merely sever the bond between body and soul. He accompanies that soul forward, beyond mortal existence, toward whatever destiny lies on the other side. That journey might culminate in peace, divine reward, or final judgment. But Azrael's task is to ensure the journey commences. He is the one who unlocks that door. According to multiple traditions, Azrael maintains a divine scroll, or register, sometimes described as a celestial book, upon which the names of every human being are inscribed. When a person enters the world, their name is added to this list. When they depart from it, their name is removed. The scroll represents Azrael's constant awareness of all living souls. He doesn't operate based on feelings or personal interpretation. He waits for the precise moment when the scroll indicates the time has arrived. This scroll demonstrates that Azrael's duty is intimately tied to fate itself. He doesn't appear randomly, nor does he determine who perishes and when. He acts only when the Creator issues the command. This is a crucial element of his nature. Unlike the rebellious angel Lucifer, or even the warrior Michael who commands divine armies, Azrael is absolutely obedient. He never acts independently. He fulfills a specific function that only activates when divine will calls it forth. And yet, despite never acting on his own initiative, Azrael's jurisdiction is unlike that of any other angel in existence. While other angels might protect specific individuals, deliver particular messages, or fight in certain locations during specific times, Azrael's responsibility extends to every single living being on earth. Regardless of where someone resides, what language they speak, or what faith they follow, every soul ultimately passes through Azrael's care. From ancient epochs to the present day, from the highest mountain peaks to the most crowded cities, Azrael's responsibility never ceases. That alone distinguishes him from all other angels. There's another dimension to his duty that's equally intriguing. Azrael doesn't always manifest personally. In fact, many traditions teach that he frequently dispatches lesser angels to execute his work. These subordinates, sometimes referred to as angels of death in plural form, operate under his direction and participate in collecting the souls of the deceased. These angels may appear gentle or horrifying, depending on the life a person lived and the fate that awaits them. this system reveals something significant. Azrael is not merely a servant, but a commander. He oversees an entire hierarchy of spiritual beings whose purpose is to help him maintain equilibrium across the world. In some interpretations, these assisting angels assume greater responsibility during warfare, catastrophes, or mass casualty events. When Azrael's reach must extend rapidly across many lives simultaneously. In other instances, he may arrive personally, particularly for saints, prophets, or individuals whose lives held special significance. And while many dread him, others recognize him as an essential component of existence. Without Azrael, there would be no ending. Without endings, there could be no fresh beginnings. His task exists simply to ensure that the grand cycle continues exactly as it was meant to. The terrifying form. Azrael was entrusted with one of the most critical responsibilities in all of creation, shepherding every soul from life into death. To carry out such a monumental task, he required more than just obedience. He needed a magnitude of power that no other angel possessed, and that's precisely what ancient texts reveal. Descriptions of Azrael's true appearance extend far beyond anything we encounter in depictions of other angels. According to various Islamic sources, Azrael's manifestation is so immense, so overwhelming, that it defies comparison to human form. He is said to possess 4 faces, each one enabling him to observe a different cardinal direction: north, south, east, and west. This detail illustrates that Azrael maintains constant vigilance, perpetually aware of events unfolding in every corner of the world. But his faces are merely the beginning. Azrael is also described as having 4,000 wings. These aren't like the wings portrayed in artwork or narratives where angels appear as luminous humans adorned with feathers. His wings are said to span across dimensions. Some are wings of mercy, associated with tranquility, compassion, and the gentle escorting of virtuous souls. Others are wings of retribution, terrifying in their appearance and purpose. These wings are said to be constructed from iron rods, sharp hooks, and heavy shears designed to cut and rend. These wings are reserved for souls stained by wickedness, and they reflect a darker aspect of death, one that brings terror rather than comfort. And then there's his scale. Some Islamic scholars, including Ibn Jafar al-Wa'ij and others who composed classical commentaries, described Azrael as possessing 70,000 feet or limbs. Each one is said to serve a specific function, connected to his capacity to interact with countless souls at the same moment. These numbers help explain how a single being can execute his duty across every nation, every culture, every individual. His form transcends what the human mind can comprehend, and it must be so, because his responsibility encompasses all of Earth. But perhaps the most extraordinary and chilling detail is this. Azrael's entire body is said to be covered with eyes and tongues. Each eye and each tongue corresponds to a living soul on Earth. This means Azrael's very physical form reflects the current population of the world at any given instant. His eyes observe every individual. His tongues represent the voice or essence of each life. And here's where it becomes truly disturbing. When a person dies, one of those eyes or tongues disappears. It vanishes from his body, indicating that the life it represented has reached its conclusion. In many traditions, Azrael's appearance is not static. It constantly transforms based on the number of living beings on the planet. His body exists in synchronization with human existence itself. In some narrations, Azrael wields a flaming whip, a weapon that symbolizes divine authority and power. It is used to command other spiritual entities and enforce the Creator's will. Another potent image emerges from reports that the entire earth appears to Azrael as diminutive as a bowl in his hand. Some scholars described it as being no larger than a dish or a tiny vessel. This signifies he can reach any location instantaneously. Distance, boundaries, and time hold no meaning for him. The concept here is unmistakable. Azrael does not travel. He does not search. He already knows where every person exists, and he can reach them without effort. And if that isn't sufficient to grasp the magnitude of his power, some accounts go even further. In Islamic theology, there exists a group of angels known as the bearers of the throne. These are said to be the largest and most formidable angels in creation. Their sole role is to support the throne of the Creator, and their dimensions are described in nearly cosmic terms. But according to some scholars, even these angels are smaller than Azrael. This detail provides us with an important insight. Azrael is not terrifying because he is malicious. He is terrifying because of what he fundamentally is. This is where we begin to understand why even beings like Michael and Lucifer would fear him. Not because Azrael opposed them, but because he existed beyond them. The many faces of death. Unlike other angels, Azrael does not appear identical to everyone. His form shifts depending on the life a person has lived and the condition of their soul in its final moments. This also differentiates him from angels who perform fixed tasks in fixed ways. Azrael's role is connected to the soul itself, its purity, its regrets, its preparedness. How he manifests depends entirely on who is perceiving him. Those who lived virtuous lives, the saints, prophets, and deeply faithful individuals, perceive Azrael as a figure of serenity. To them, he does not appear ominous or frightening. Instead, he arrives in a gentle form, often described as beautiful, tranquil, or even radiating with light. In these moments, Azrael's presence delivers comfort. He grants the soul time to comprehend what is transpiring and escorts it with tenderness. Some traditions describe this encounter as one saturated with radiance and warmth, as if the soul is being welcomed by a familiar and trusted guardian. Stories transmitted through generations say that the Prophet Muhammad and Moses were approached by Azrael himself, not by one of his subordinate angels. In both instances, he extended a respectful invitation to depart from the world. But not every soul receives such treatment. For those who lived with cruelty, deception, or rebellion in their hearts, Azrael manifests in a vastly different form. In these cases, he arrives not with peace but with overwhelming force. His appearance becomes a reflection of what the soul dreads most. His presence is described as oppressive, frigid, and terrifying. Some traditions say that sinners feel their soul being torn away, rather than gently lifted. There is no comfort in these final moments, only fear, regret, and anguish. This dual nature of Azrael is part of his design. He reflects the truth of the person's life back to them. What the soul contributed to the world is what the soul receives in return. This concept appears most clearly in Sufi belief, a branch of Islamic thought that emphasizes the spiritual journey of the individual soul. Sufi teachers explain that Azrael reveals himself in a form that corresponds to the deepest state of the soul at the moment of death. If the soul is at peace, Azrael appears as peace. If the soul is saturated with fear or resistance, he appears in a form that mirrors that struggle. But these appearances are not exclusively witnessed at the moment of death. There are accounts of Azrael appearing to people in dreams or visions, especially when their time approaches. These dreams often carry warnings, reminders, or messages to prepare the soul. In some cases, the vision is peaceful. In others, it serves as a wake-up call. One well-known example comes from Rumi, the celebrated Sufi poet and spiritual teacher. According to tradition, as Rumi neared death, he encountered Azrael in human form. This meeting was not filled with terror, it was peaceful. Rumi accepted it calmly, recognizing that the time had arrived. Another example is found in the writings of Nasir Khusraw, a Persian poet and philosopher. He wrote about seeing Azrael in a dream, who informed him that his time was approaching. This dream granted him time to reflect, pray, and prepare himself spiritually. In these stories, Azrael functions as a messenger of transition, a guide who assists the soul in stepping into its next stage of existence. The silence that fell across heaven. If you're still questioning why Azrael inspired fear even among the greatest angels, the answer becomes evident when you understand what his presence truly signified. Every time he appeared, something concluded. This didn't apply exclusively to humans. It applied to angels as well. Ancient legends describe a profound, instinctive stillness that permeated the heavens whenever Azrael was near. Angels who sang, battled, or served in harmony paused when he passed. Gabriel delivered messages. Michael commanded battles. Israfil stood prepared to sound the final trumpet. But Azrael's mission was fundamentally different. He didn't arrive with advance notice. He arrived with finality. When he moved, even the most powerful beings yielded. Some traditions say that Azrael could, if the Creator commanded, extract the soul of any being, even one of the angels. So he operated outside the boundaries of time, conflict, or revelation. He didn't belong to the narratives of war or prophecy. He belonged to the final chapter. In one narration, the bearers of the Creator's throne, angels renowned for their immense size and authority, lowered their gaze when Azrael appeared in the divine realm. His authority stemmed not from rank, but from function. He represented the conclusion of every command, every mission, and every life. Azrael worked in isolation. His path did not intersect with that of warriors or messengers. He was the last stop on the divine road, and once he arrived, no voice, no strength, and no appeal could alter what came next. That's why even the archangels, mighty, radiant, and chosen, respected his silence, because his silence meant the story was finished. Azrael and the nature of death. But are Azrael and death the same entity? Or are they separate? In many traditions, death is not simply an occurrence. It is a being, fashioned by the Creator just like the angels. According to some ancient Islamic narrations, death was formed as a distinct creation, separate from Azrael. It was not merely a process. It possessed form, weight, and presence. When the Creator formed death, he presented it before the angels, but the sight of it overwhelmed them completely. Every angel who gazed upon death fainted for 1,000 years. The experience proved too much for even the strongest celestial beings. That alone provides us with a clue. If even the angels collapsed before death, what kind of being could control it? The moment when the Creator gave Azrael command over death itself is crucial. It demonstrates that Azrael was not created by death. He was positioned above it. While other angels worked with light, sound, and fire, Azrael carried something far more absolute, the very boundary between life and what follows. In some traditions, scholars and mystics explain this by saying that Azrael didn't just deliver death, he became its embodiment. He didn't follow death. Death followed him. This concept becomes even more powerful in the stories about the end of time. After Judgment Day, when every soul has been judged and paradise and hell are fully established, one final task remains. According to Hadith traditions, the Creator will take death itself, now manifested in the form of a ram, and place it between heaven and hell. Then, before all creation, the Creator will slay the ram. In that moment, death itself will cease to exist, and with it, Azrael's role will reach its conclusion. This marks the ultimate transformation. Azrael, who once stood at the threshold of every life, will have completed the full circle. His work will be finished, and eternity will begin without end. So perhaps Azrael was not merely a servant of death. Perhaps he was death, shaped by divine command. Qissa. Azrael, in culture and memory, and because of everything we've explored so far, it's no surprise that today many people associate Azrael with the Grim Reaper. But unlike the Grim Reaper, who is often portrayed as cold or menacing, Azrael's origins reveal him as both feared and revered. He executes the Creator's will, not personal judgment. Azrael's name also appears in poems, books, and even popular entertainment. Over time, his role as the angel of death inspired writers, thinkers, and artists around the world, particularly in the West. In the 19th century, American poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow referenced Azrael as an angel who gently gathers souls, giving his presence a solemn yet peaceful quality. Around the same time, Leigh Hunt wrote The Reaper and the Flowers, where Azrael appears as a quiet figure cloaked in black, arriving not to harm, but to guide. British writer G.K. Chesterton also referenced Azrael in his poetry. In his works, Azrael is described as a powerful force invoked during moments of great spiritual battle, highlighting the angel's enduring significance even outside the original religious context. Over the years, the name Azrael became more recognizable to the general public. In the 1980s cartoon The Smurfs, the villain Gargamel named his cat Azrael, a small detail that hints at the angel's deeper place in cultural memory. Even in a light-hearted setting, the name still carried a connection to the mysterious, the dark, and the inevitable. This makes Azrael more than a symbol. He's not just a shadow or a myth. He's a character that crosses boundaries between life and death, religion and folklore, fear and comfort. And now that you've heard Azrael's story, how do you perceive him? As a dark figure to dread, or as a guardian of life's final step? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Until we meet again.